Hey guys, it's Cole, and welcome to my media tour coverage of the Magical Range DPS. If you want the Pictomancer video, I'm going to have a dedicated Pictomancer Ultimate Guide video posted to this channel, completely deep diving into all the mechanics of new job, and I'm going to go into like as super big depth as I have been allowed to. But this video is going to be focused on Summoner and its Mecha Bahamut Awesome Summoner, Black Mage and its outrageously new neat gauge, which is lobbing a flare star at someone, and then Red Mage, which has a ton of new goodies and a lot of QL well that I definitely think people want to check out. Also, if you want to check out the new skills and stuff on my website FFXIV, I'm going to have a lot more cool functionalities coming to it, and you can check out all these skills on there. General changes across all the casters is that Swift Cast is now 40 seconds cooldown, and that Adult's Duration is now 15 seconds, and you get these changes through traits. The first job that we're going to look at is Summoner, and Summoner is overwhelmingly the same as it is in Endwalker today, with some very tiny deviations. Like, if you enjoy how Summoner plays, the great news is that you are essentially playing the exact same way in Dawntrail. Summoner's Searing Light ability is now getting a follow-up burst of damage, and this ability is named Searing Flash, and this is going to do 600 potency of damage in an AoE, so every 2 minutes you're getting a new off GCD Fester, basically, kind of, sort of. Basically. The next change is that Fester is being upgraded to the new ability Necrotize, which is still a single target off GCD burst of damage functioning exactly the same. Now the next and final brand new skill that you're going to be pressing is Lux Solaris, which is a burst heal of 500 potency across the entire party and is granted when you summon Solar Bahamut. To be clear, this is also a cool interaction. This skill you can delay when you cast this heal up to 30 seconds after summoning Solar Bahamut, which means that you do not need Solar Bahamut out to cast Lux Solaris. I mean, you'll need it in order to be able to initially cast it, but you get a little bit of interesting wiggle room there. So if your group you know is going to take damage a little bit later, you have that option. Now we're going to get into the unassignable to action bar skills, which is where things get a lot more interesting. You're going to be getting Summon Solar Bahamut at level 100, which has a ton of text on the tooltip, but basically if you boil it down, functions the exact same as Summon Bahamut that we have today. Like, I made a little image infographic here, and by all means it is like 1-to-1 the exact same outside of getting one new button, the Lux Solaris AoE heal. Now the question everyone probably wonders is, okay, what is the summoning order? Like, what is going on here? So you're first gonna summon Solar Bahamut. Solar Bahamut is your first one now, and that's gonna go into regular Bahamut, which then goes back to Solar Bahamut, and then you go to Phoenix. Which, why is Phoenix so deep is what people may wonder. I don't know, but that's how it is. The cycle after Phoenix then goes back into Solar Bahamut, into regular Bahamut, and then Solar Bahamut into Phoenix. And so it's like every 2-minute window will align with Solar Bahamut, and then the space between the 2-minute burst windows will have Bahamut or Phoenix. Of course, Spell Speed Summoner is a thing, and even if numerically it may tilt to be suboptimal in the current patch in Endwalker by slight margin, it is a fun archetype, and so maybe Solar Bahamut will not need to align with every 2-minute window for optimal DPS, or alternatively, the numbers may shake out that in actual practice in Dawntrail, it might be significantly lower DPS if you don't have Solar Bahamut there. But point is, if Summoner's spell speed is 0, it will align Solar Bahamut into the 2-minute windows perfectly, because it's going to be every 60 seconds that you get Bahamut, well, Solar Bahamut. So my overall Summoner thoughts and impressions is overall Summoner is the exact same Summoner that we know and love today, and I think that is a great thing overall, because let's be very real here. The overwhelming majority of people that have played Summoner that I've heard about Endwalker Summoner, it is really hard to deny how overwhelmingly popular Summoner is, and so just having a very slight changes I'm sure is welcome. Obviously old Summoner mains like myself are like, but we have like different things now like Pictomancer to talk about, and yes, I definitely miss my damage over time effects. But for people who know and love the Summoner in its current state, you're going to be happy. Ultimately, you're getting one more off GCD every 2 minutes through Searing Flash, and then you can cast Lux Solaris for a burst heal to the party. Other than that, it is like the same thing as it is today. Next up is Red Mage, which is largely the same. Like, we get a damage upgrade from Jolt, again, to Jolt 3. Noteworthy is the developers did mention that they were making an effort to remove damage from mobility schools like Dragoons and tanks. And for the Red Mage, Displacement, Corpse a Corpse. I know people are going to talk about how I said that. Corpse a Corpse. And engagement abilities still all have their damage component for the Red Mage. Manafication now has been reworked, and this is seen in other jobs like Machinist or Dark Knight, where these skills that used to add to the gauge directly now instead give you a buff that allows you to execute their spender abilities. Like for Red Mage, this means that you can execute your 3-piece melee combo by spending stacks of what is called magic sword play, which is then going to lead into the rest of the Red Mage combo that we know and love today. Manafication now explicitly has a buff that indicates that it's going to give a 5% magic damage boost to your next 6 spells, which we all know is being dumped into that combo. And that we have a new effect called Cineration ready, where Cineration is going to be an off the global cooldown ability that does significant damage to the main target and 60% less AoE damage to targets around that target. We are also getting a new off GCD ability named Vice of Thorns that deals 520 damage and 60% of that damage to enemies around the target. Vice of Thorns can be executed after you cast Embolden at level 92, and so Vice of Thorns is another off GCD that you're going to toss into your 2-minute burst windows. Acceleration is very interesting for Red Mage now in that it gets a trait at level 96 that allows you to go into the state Grand Impact ready. And so Grand Impact is an on the GCD instant cast spell that does quite a noticeable amount more damage than baseline Jolt, so it's very much worth noting. However, that acceleration does other effects, and that it's at a 55-second cooldown timer, and it's going to let you cast your next for Thunder, Fair Arrow, or Impact, which is just AoE, immediately, and it's going to also raise Impact's AoE damage. Or it guarantees for Fire, for Stone Ready, and it allows you to stack up 2 charges. Yeah, okay, that's known. That already exists. But now, Acceleration is definitely more noteworthy as both a damage tool and a mobility tool by merit of Grand Impact. My overall impressions on Red Mage and Dawntrail is that this is a host of very positive changes. Red Mage could be very easily argued in Endwalker to be the least mobile caster in the game. Seeing Acceleration now get 2 GCD of mobility will definitely help out there. The other abilities are really icing on the cake, like off GCD Flare, that I think most Red Mages are going to appreciate. I do, at least. Also, Manafication not overcapping. Nice QOL, just not something to worry about now in general. So I think Red Mage, especially the mobility with Acceleration, is going to be very appreciated, and the rest is just really nice icing. I think it turned out okay. Well, better than okay. I think it turned out really great. I think Red Mages are going to be happy. Last, but definitely not least, is Black Mage, who has a bunch of changes ranging from the small to the quite massively large and fiery balls in your face. The first is foundational change, in that MP Restoration has been previously linked to server ticks, and now you will be restoring mana through your ice spells landing directly. There's a lot of nuance behind the scenes and numbers, but functionally in your gameplay, it's going to feel the exact same. That you're going to blast fire spells for high damage and then use Umbral Ice stacks to reduce the MP cost there, and then when you need to recover your MP, you're going to go into ice spells and then go back to fire. This is definitely a beneath the surface kind of change. Black Mage is now going to get 3 stacks of Polyglot that they can store up for even more fun. Black Mage also is going to get a trait that also makes their Enochian, gives 30% more magic damage, best thought of as just a passive behind the scenes. I won't explicitly think about that too much. Next up is that Manafont has been totally changed. Previously it would restore 30% of maximum MP and that was it. Now this ability comically restores all MP. And grants Astral Fire 3, and grants Thunderhead. More on that in a second. Manafont also grants 3 Umbral Hearts and grants Paradox. However, you do need to be under Astral Fired in order to use this ability. And so, this is a comical amount of things now, and a big rework to the skill. And I don't want to speculate too deep into the nuance of it, but like in an overview video, but this is literally going to... It's literally a give me everything button. The only thing missing from it is dropping Leylines, giving you polyglot stacks, and telling you a few good dad jokes. It's really good. Another noteworthy change is that Thunder can now only be cast when you have Thunderhead buff. Why this is a thing, maybe to reduce the amount of manually casting Thunder, but Black Mage also gets a upgrade to Thunder where you now get High Thunder or High Thunder 2 for their AoE version. Next change is that Leylines now has a follow-up chained ability called Retrace, which is literally just going to move your Leylines location, so it's just awesome. Funny enough, it was a 40-second recast time, and Leylines is a 2-minute cooldown. You know what? I won't ask why, but it's funny to think about. It's fun for me, at least. Now we get to Black Mage's level 100 capstone ability, Flare Star, and this ability is awesome. It's going to hit like a truck on single target and also deal 60% less damage to enemies around it, so single target in AoE situations is going to be great. So this gets a new gauge and system introduced in the Black Mage that you're going to get a stack of Astral Soul every time you land, specifically Fire 4 or Flare, and specifically those 2 abilities. And once you land 6 of them, then your Astral Soul gauge is filled, and now you can throw out Flare Star. This does more damage than Fire 4, and so this is going to be really great. With that, I close off this video, and if you want Pictomancer video, I am going to keep that in the description, and it is going to be super worth checking out.